Aloha, everybody. This is Kathy Bilski, the Quantum Leap, Let Light Unite show. I like that better. On UPRN Radio. And this is December 18th, 2020. My last show of the year. And you won't hear me till next year. Next year, I am having people already ask me to do another Quantum Leap. So we are looking for a really good high energy date to do it on next year, and then we will do it again. Have another Quantum Leap because I think the Earth needs it. It's kind of cray-cray out there. And being as my last show of the year, I wanted to do something a little bit lighter, and I want to do gathered all the funny material, and that's what I will do tonight. But before that, I wanted to do a little spiritual tune-up for you guys and do the curse removal, energy balancing. Just put you in a good space so you can maybe sit back and relax, smoke a joint, drink some wine or a beer, and laugh. And I hope some of these will actually touch your heart, because some of them I can't. There's one I can't read without crying at the end. But be it as it may, let's start with the curse removal, energy balancing. So for those of you that are going to participate, I want you to sit down, put your feet flat on the floor, and sit straight up like you're going to receive, because you are. Put your hands in your lap, palms up. Did I say face up? Oh, wow. Okay, and I'm not drinking. Palms up in your lap, like you're going to ready to receive. And I want you to start taking some gentle, deep breaths. I want you to breathe in light and exhale out everything that no longer serves you, and imagine all that unwanted energy going through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with your divine essence. So you breathe in light and exhale out, again, everything that no longer serves you. And don't hyperventilate on me, okay? And just do that till I tell you to stop. So as you're doing that, I surround each and every one of you in a bubble of golden flame. I add to that the blue flame of protection, the violet flame of transmutation, the green flame of healing, and I seal you in the pink flame of love. And I call to all your teacher guides, masters, and all the divine beings that work with you, and invite them in, the cosmic beings, the dolphins, the whales, and invite them in to make this energy work gentle, loving, and kind for you. So now take one more deep breath and exhale out everything that no longer serves you, and imagine all that unwanted energy, again, going through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with your divine essence. So now I want you to imagine this incredible divine healing energy coming down from God, coming into your crown chakra at the top of your head, and allow it to flow down and out through your brain, and feel every cell, atom, molecule of your brain reconnect to the Creator. So you become an even more awakened spiritual being filled with all these new possibilities. And now allow that divine energy to flow out your third eye. And now feel it come out of your throat chakra. And now allow that divine energy to come out of your heart chakra. Now let that energy come out of your heart chakra one more time. And now feel that divine energy to flow out of your solar plexus. And now allow it to drift down, and feel it come out of your belly button chakra. And now the sacral, and that's right below the belly button chakra. And feel it flow out your root chakra. Now allow that divine energy to flow all the way down your legs. Let it go out your feet and feel it go into the earth. Allow it to flow down your arms, out your hands, down your spine. Feel total consumed in this divine light. And as you're doing that, I call on Michael the Archangel to come forth and cut all ties to any energy you've taken on that's not yours. Whether it's from a friend, relative, acquaintance, stranger, anybody you work with, TV set, animal, whatever the karmic reason is that created anything out of balance in your life or your body today. And as all that unwanted energy is peeled off of you gently like an onion skin, it all goes through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with your divine essence. And now I want Michael to come forth, cut all ties to reptile, dinosaur energy, secret societies, organized religion. Cut all ties to any oaths, vows, curses, hexes, rituals that could have been done to you or your family, going backwards and forwards, hundreds of thousands of generations, or anything you could have done, consciously or unconsciously. And as all that unwanted energy too is peeled off of you gently like an onion skin, it goes through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with more of your divine essence. And now I want Michael to come forth, cut all ties to any effigies that have been misused against you. And that's any elemental of yours that was used to hurt you or anyone, including anything you own. Clothes, hair, picture, your name spoken, written, just thought of, or anything you have your energy on. And as ties to all those elementals are cut, I call the violet flame through them to clean them up, the angel light energy to heal them. Oh dear. Ooh. We release all that unwanted energy back to God. Let them fill up with love as they reconnect to the Creator, and we command them to be neutral or only emit love. And now I want Michael to come forth and remove any energy implants that could have been done to you or anything that could have carried over from any other lifetime because of dark magic, voodoo, dark witchcraft, Santa Maria, or just dark thoughts sent your way. So I want the stick, pin, needle, or knife that's in your crown chakra removed from your third eye, your throat, heart, solar plexus, belly button, root, feet, hands, spine, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, hips, teeth, anywhere in your body that's out of balance. And as you feel all those pins, needles, and knives being very gently removed, imagine all those spaces immediately fill up with the violet flame to clean it up, the angel light energy to heal. We release all that unwanted energy back to God, and you fill up with more of your divine essence. And now I want Michael to come forth, cut all ties to patriarchy, genocide, rape, incest, slavery, prostitution, persecution, circumcision, removing any energy overlay that's trying to manipulate you, keeping you from connecting with God, fulfilling your divine missions, and living your life in joy. And as that unwanted energy is removed gently from you, like an onion skin, it goes through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with more of your divine essence. So if there is anybody out there that's directing any kind of dark energy at you, we're going to ask them to step forward in the light and stop. And if they choose to continue, which is their free will, we're going to ask their higher self and guardian angels to put them in a position of harmlessness and of choose. And we're going to surround them in a bubble of mirror. The mirror is going to face them 2 inches from their nose. And as long as they do their dark work, that energy stays contained in the bubble. And I call to your higher self, and I'm going to ask your higher self now to activate your divine blueprint for perfect health, all your spiritual gifts, and divine abundance. And see that being activated in your life and your body now. So allow all that energy to integrate in a very gentle, kind, loving way with your cells, your atoms, your molecules, all your internal organs going all the way down into your DNA. And with every breath, feel more of this energy just integrating, raising your energy sparking all these new thoughts and ideas. So again, allow that energy to integrate in a very gentle, kind, loving way with your cells, atoms, molecules, all your internal organs, going all the way down into your DNA. All right, I'm not going to ground you because I'm going to do some funny stuff. At least I think most of it's funny. Some of it's heart-rendering, most of it's funny. And so sit back and just, enjoy the lightness that you feel. And, allow yourself some laughter. All right, here we go. Now, this is called On the 12 Days of Christmas, My Teen Gave to Me. 12 dramatic eye rolls, 11 forgotten items, 10 shoulder shrugs, 9 ignored requests, 8 cups in their bedroom, 7 perfect selfies, 6 slam doors, 5 social media apps, 4 heavy sighs, 3 ask for money, 2 undone chores, 1 huge mess in their bedroom. Yeah, all right. All right, so here's another one of those Christmas things, okay? 12 days of Facebook. On the 12th day of Christmas, my Facebook gave to me 12 freaks I'm blocking, 11 friends just watching, 10 corny topics, 9 broken friendships, 8 complaining relatives, 7 stalkers stalking, 6 party invites, 5 drama queens, 4 game requests, 3 photo tags, 2 friends of pokin', and a creep who won't stop inboxing me. All right, that's all I'll be singing, okay? You can take your hands off your ears now. Okay. This one's called 'Twas the Night Before Christmas 2020. 'Twas the year 2020, and all through the house, every creature was stirring, from human to mouse. The stockings were tossed on the chimney. Who cares? It's been months since we entertained. Would Saint Nick even dare? The children were nestled all snug in their beds as visions of rubber gloves danced in their heads. And Mama in her gaiter and me in my mask had just settled our brains for a long cleaning task. When out on the roof there rose such a clatter, I sprang from my mop to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash. I peeked through the shutter, barely touching the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave me faith that someday we'd have somewhere to go. When what to my wandering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 spotless reindeer, with a little old driver decked out in full gear. I knew in a moment we'd have Christmas this year. More safely than hazmat, the reindeer they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Clorox, now Pine Sol, now Lysol and Purex, on Comet, on Purell, on Top Job and Germex. Wipe the top of the porch, then the top of the wall. Now wipe away, wipe away, wipe away all. As dry leaves sat before the wild hurricane fly, when they finished and then took a jump to the sky. So up to the housetop, the reindeer they flew, with a sleigh full of masks and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the pawing of each little rubber gloved hoof. As I pulled up my mask and was turning around, down the chimney, a big bucket came with a bound. It was covered in a plastic from bottom to top, and the contents were sterile, despite the long drop. I miss seeing his eyes and his dimples so merry, but this virus prevents that. These times are so scary. I imagine his face and his little round belly that shook when he laughed like hand sanitizer jelly. But I saw him outside, though, and he stood near his sleigh, and I laughed when I saw him from 6 feet away. With a wink of his eye and a wave of his hand, I felt warm inside. Santa, too, understands. And without a word, I went right to my work. I filled all our stockings and turned with a jerk, and laying a finger aside of his mask, the reindeer rose up that had finished their task. He waved to me then, to his team, gave a shout, and socially distanced, quickly flew out. But I heard him proclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all. We will all be all right." That was pretty good, huh? Okay. All right, this is Christmas from a mother's point of view. As I've wallowed in Christmas music the last couple of weeks, I've pondered the tradition of the Christmas story, and I've come to a conclusion. Mary was shafted. There she is, 8+ months pregnant, having been dragged all over Israel on the back of a effing donkey. I know that when I was 8 and pregnant, I had a hard time riding for 2 hours in a car to attend my father-in-law's funeral. And that was on cement. And men just do not understand how often one has to pee when there's a baby sitting on one's bladder, especially when one is being jiggled by travel. Do you think Joseph cheerfully stopped every 15 minutes for a potty break, heaving Mary on and off the donkey with nary a complaint? I mean, he didn't even get the fun of the conception. That had to have an effect on his equanimity during the pregnancy. So they pull into Bethlehem, and Joseph can't even come up with a room at a Motel 6. Mary must have felt as if her dam back was breaking even before she went into labor. Now, let's think about that for a little bit, shall we? Mary was a first-time mother. Her labor would have lasted a long, long time. I went for 23 hours between my water breaking and the delivery of my eldest child. So I'm guessing Mary was in labor for 12 hours at least, and with no option for an epidural. Yeah, I suppose God could have given Mary a short and pain-free labor. After all, she was doing him a pretty damn big favor, being a surrogate mother and all. But were that the case, I'm pretty sure that would have been mentioned as one of the miracles of the miraculous birth. Besides, this is a male God. He wouldn't have thought of giving Mary a break. You know, it's one of those women things. And speaking of women things, who helped deliver baby Jesus? There's no mention of any woman being around. Did Joseph run for a midwife? And if so, why don't we know about it? We do know that Joseph couldn't assist. For one thing, he didn't know nothing about birth and no babies. I mean, Mary was a first-time mother, but Joseph wasn't even a first-time father. Besides, according to the Jewish laws concerning niddah, at the point when labor became really, really painful, Mary was a yoledet, a woman giving birth and unclean. Not Joseph, nor the innkeeper, nor the shepherds, nor any other Jewish man could touch her. She was on her own. Beyond that, what was Mary using for a bed? We know all about the little Lord Jesus being tucked away in a manger after the fact. But what did Mary labor upon? I doubt that the innkeeper kept a birthing stool handy, especially not in the barn. So I'm guessing our poor girl was relegated to a pile of straw in a cow barn full of fodder and cow shit. Do you think Mary suffered at all in stoic silence? If Mary was like most women, she was cursing the male who got her in that condition and that position, especially since he had it in his power to spare her the entire ordeal. Jesus was born of a woman. That was the whole idea of God made man, wasn't it? And a real woman would have been screaming her head off, cursing Father, Son, and Holy Ghost for good measure. So here we have Mary, who had jogged around the countryside on a donkey, not getting a decent night's sleep in weeks, having labored mightily to bring forth a child with no assistance from a knowledgeable woman, bedded down in a stable, lying on poky, scratchy straw, amongst the oxen and cows and ducks and sheep and all the effluvia which comes from livestock. Poor girl just needs some rest. I know that after I gave birth, the last thing I wanted was a parade of visitors. All I wanted was some damn sleep. But poor Mary, what happened to her? Why, a veritable convention broke out. First, there were the animals already in the barn. The cattle are lowing. The poor baby wakes. Then the shepherds arrive with their flocks, and you don't think they left them out in the pastures unguarded, do you? Those sheep were the only wealth they had. They wouldn't just leave them there. But it was the damn angels with the trumpets and their harps of gold bending near the earth to sing, "Hark, glory to the newborn king." Oh yeah, the angels did a great fucking job. By the time they were finished singing on high, with the mountains enjoying the joyful strains to "Come to Bethlehem and see," heaven and nature singing and repeating the sounding joy in the song high above the trees with a voice as big as the seas, everyone and their brother. But no sisters to tend to Mary had been called to traipse through the cow barn and stare at the baby. There was no consideration at all of what Mary needed. Wise men showed up with gold, frankincense, and myrrh for Jesus. They could have at least brought a pacifier to keep the baby quiet, and Mary could really have used a fluffy down comforter or some nice bath salts. Although I have to say the frankincense would have been useful for covering up the stench of the cow crap. Oh my God, they even end up referring to Jesus as the Son of Man when there is no man around. The whole process, not involved in it at all. Just a Godhead and a woman. By the time the little drummer boy arrived, Mary probably grabbed a shepherd's crook and beat the kid with it, and then broke the fucking drum and wailed shit on the shepherds, the wise men, the angels, the sheep, and Joseph for good measure. It would have been the only way she would have gotten a silent night. Alrighty, now this is called Only a Man Would Attempt This. All right, so I want you to imagine this mentally in your brains, okay? I want you to picture this as I'm speaking. And you'll really get the humor. All right. Now it's called Only a Man Would Attempt This. Okay. Pocket taser stun gun, a great gift for the wife. A guy who purchased his lovely wife a pocket taser for their anniversary submitted this. Last weekend, I saw something at Larry's Pistol and Pawn Shop that sparked my interest. The occasion was our 15th anniversary, and I was looking for a little something extra for my wife, Julie. What I came across was a 100,000-volt pocket purse sized taser. The effects of the taser were supposed to be short-lived, with no long-term adverse effects on your assailant, allowing her adequate time to retreat to safety. Way too cool. Long story short, I bought the device and brought it home. I loaded 2 AAA batteries in the darn thing and pushed the button. Nothing. I was disappointed. I learned, however, that if I pushed the button and pressed it against a metal surface at the same time, I'd get the blue arc of electricity darting back and forth between the prongs.
You can't control what's outside your home, but you can control what comes in. Because Clorox disinfecting wipes kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria, including COVID-19 virus, when used as directed on hard, non-porous surfaces. So whether it's from dirty doorknobs, dirty shoes, or something else, outside germs won't stand a chance. When it counts, trust Clorox. Kill Pseudomonas, Salmonella, and influenza virus type A2. Kill SARS-CoV-2 on hard, non-porous surfaces. Use as directed.
Awesome. Unfortunately, I have yet to explain to Julie what that burn spot is on the face of her microwave. Okay, so I was home alone with this new toy, thinking to myself that it couldn't be all that bad with only 2 AAA batteries, right? There I sat in my recliner, my cat Gracie looking on intently, trusting little soul. Well, I was reading the directions and thinking, I really needed to try this thing out on a flesh and blood moving target. I must admit, I thought about zapping Gracie for a fraction of a second and thought better of it. She's such a sweet cat. But if I was going to give this thing to my wife to protect herself against a mugger, I did want some assurance that it would work as advertised. Am I wrong? So there I sat in the pair of shorts and a tank top with my reading glasses perched delicately on the bridge of my nose, directions in one hand and taser in another. The directions said that a 1-second burst would shock and disorient your assailant. A 2-second burst was supposed to cause muscle spasm and a major loss of bodily control. A 3-second burst would purportedly make your assailant flop on the ground like a fish out of water. Any burst longer than 3 seconds would be wasting the batteries. All the while, I'm looking at this little device measuring about 5 inches long, less than 3/4 inch in circumference. Pretty cute, really. And loaded with, 2 itsy bitsy AAA batteries. Thinking to myself, no possible way. What happened next is almost beyond description, but I'll do my best. I'm sitting there alone, Gracie looking on with her head cocked to one side as if to say, don't do it, dipshit. Reasoning that a 1-second burst from such a tiny little old thing couldn't hurt all that bad. I decided to give myself a 1-second burst just for the heck of it. I touched the prongs to my naked thigh, pushed the button, and Holy Mother of God, weapons of mass destruction. What the hell? I'm pretty sure Jesse Ventura, oh God, Jesse Ventura, he's the one that does, oh my God, I can't even, the body slam. Wrestling, there we go. All right. I'm pretty sure Jesse Ventura ran in through the side door, picked me up in the recliner, then body slammed us both on the carpet over and over and over again. I vaguely recall waking up on my side in the fetal position with tears in my eyes, body soaking wet, both nipples on fire, testicles nowhere to be found, with my left arm tucked under my body in the oddest position and tingling in my legs. The cat was making meowing sounds I have never heard before, clinging to a picture frame hanging above the fireplace, obviously in an attempt to avoid getting slammed by my body, flopping all over the living room. Note, if you ever feel compelled to mug yourself with a taser, one note of caution. There is no such thing as a 1-second burst when you zap yourself. You will not let go of that thing until it is dislodged from your hand by a violent thrashing about on the floor. A 3-second burst would be considered conservative. It hurt like hell. A minute or so later, and I can't be sure, as time was a relative thing at that point, I collected my wits, what little I had left, sat up and surveyed the landscape. My bent reading glasses were on the mantle of the fireplace. The recliner was upside down and about 8 feet or so from where it originally was. My triceps, right thigh, and both nipples were still twitching. My face felt like it had been shot up with Novocaine, and my bottom lip weighed 88 pounds. I had no control over the drooling. Apparently, I pooped myself. I was too numb to know for sure, and my sense of smell was gone. I saw a faint smoke cloud above my head, which I believe came from my hair. And I'm still looking for my nuts, and I'm offering a significant reward for their safe return. Oh my God. P.S. My wife can't stop laughing about my experience. Love the gift, and now regularly threatens me with it. If you think education is difficult, try being stupid. Oh my God. You have to admit, that is funny. All right. So here's this funny stuff. Today I was in a shoe store that sells only shoes, nothing else. A young girl with green hair walked over to me and asked, "What brings you in today?" I looked at her and said, "I'm interested in buying a refrigerator." She didn't quite know how to respond, had that deer in the headlight look. I was thinking about old age and decided that old age is when you still have something on the ball, but you're just too tired to bounce it. When people see a cat's litter box, they always say, "Oh, have you got a cat?" I just say, "No, it's for company." Employment application blanks always ask who is to be called in case of an emergency. I think you should write an ambulance. The older you get, the tougher it is to lose weight, because by then your body and your fat have just gotten to be really good friends. The easiest way to find something lost around the house is simply to buy a replacement. Have you ever noticed the Roman numeral for 40 or XL? The sole purpose of a child's middle name is so he knows when he's in real trouble. Did you ever notice that when you put the two words, the and IRS, together, it spells theirs? Aging. Eventually, you will reach a point when you stop lying about your age and start bragging about it. Yeah, busted. Some people tried to turn back their odometers, not me. I want people to know why I look this way. I've traveled a long way and got a lot of the roads were not paved. Being young is exciting, but being old is comfortable. Lord, keep your arm around my shoulder and your hand over my mouth. May you always have love to share, cash to spare, tires with air, and friends who care. All right, now this is my Christmas story. And, if I can read it through without crying in the end, I'll be doing great. The old man sat in his gas station on a cold Christmas Eve. He hadn't been anywhere in years since his wife had passed away. It was just another day to him. He didn't hate Christmas, just couldn't find a reason to celebrate. He was sitting there looking at the snow that had been falling for the last hour and wondering what it was all about when the door opened and a homeless man stepped through. Instead of throwing the man out, old George, as he was known by his customers, told the man to come in and sit by the heater and warm up. Thank you, but I don't mean to intrude, said the stranger. I see you're busy. I'll just go. Not without something hot in your belly, George said. He turned and opened a wide-mouthed thermos and handed it to the stranger. It ain't much, but it's hot and tasty. Stew. Made it myself. When you're done, there's coffee and it's fresh. Just at that moment, he heard the ding of the driveway bell. Excuse me, be right back, George says. There in the driveway was an old 53 Chevy. Steam was rolling out of the front. The driver was panicked. Mister, can you help me, said the driver with a deep Spanish accent. My wife is with child and my car's broken. George opened the hood. It was bad. The block looked cracked from the cold. The car was dead. You ain't going in this thing, George says as he turned away. But mister, please help. The door of the office closed behind George as he went inside. He went to the office wall and got the keys to his old truck and went back outside. He walked around the building, opened the garage, started the truck, and drove it around to where the couple was waiting. Here, take my truck, he said. She ain't the best thing you ever looked at, but she runs real good. George helped put the woman in the truck and watched as it sped off into the night. He turned and walked back inside the office. Glad I gave him the truck. Their tires were shot too. That old truck is brand new. George thought he was talking to the stranger, but the man had gone. The thermos was on the desk, empty, with a used coffee cup beside it. Well, at least he got something in his belly, George thought. George went back outside to see if the old Chevy would start. It cranked slowly, but it started. He pulled it into the garage where the truck had been. He thought he would tinker with it for something to do. Christmas Eve meant no customers. He discovered the block hadn't cracked. It was just the bottom hose on the radiator. Well, shoot, I can fix this, he said to himself, so he put a new one on. Those tires ain't getting him through the winter either. He took the snow treads off of his wife's old Lincoln. They were like new, and he wasn't going to drive that car anyway. As he was working, he heard shots being fired. He ran outside. Beside a police car, an officer lay on the cold ground. Bleeding from the left shoulder, the officer moaned, "Please help me." George helped the officer inside as he remembered the training he received in the Army as a medic. He knew the wound needed attention. Pressure to stop the bleeding, he thought. The uniform company had been there that morning, and he had left clean shop towels. He used those and duct tape to bind the wound. Hey, they say duct tape can fix anything, he said, trying to make the policeman feel at ease. Something for pain, George thought. All he had was the pills he used for his back. These ought to work. He put some water in a cup and gave the policeman the pills. You hang in there. I'm going to get you an ambulance. The phone was dead. Maybe I can get one of your buddies on their talk box out in your car. He went out only to find that a bullet had gone into the dashboard, destroying the two-way radio. He went back in to find the policeman sitting up. Thanks, said the officer. You could have left me there. The guy that shot me is still out there. George sat down beside him. I would never leave an injured man in the army, and I ain't going to leave you. George pulled back the bandage to check for bleeding. Looks worse than what it is. Bullet passed right through you. Good thing it missed the important stuff, though. I think with time, you're going to be right as rain. George got up and poured a cup of coffee. How do you take it? He asked. None for me, said the officer. Oh, you're going to drink this. Best in the city. Too bad I ain't got no donuts. Officer laughed and winced at the same time. The front door of the office flew open and burst a young man with a gun. Give me all your cash. Do it now, the young man yelled. His hand was shaking, and George could tell that he had never done anything like this before. That's the guy that shot me, explained the officer. Son, why are you doing this? Asked George. You need to put the cannon away. Somebody else might get hurt. The young man was confused. Shut up, old man, or I'll shoot you too. Now give me the cash. The cop was reaching for his gun. Put that thing away, George said to the cop. We got one too many in here now. He turned his attention to the young man. Son, it's Christmas Eve. If you need money, well, then here. It ain't much, but it's all I got. Now put that pea shooter away. George pulled $150 out of his pocket and handed it to the young man, reaching for the barrel of the gun at the same time. The young man released his grip on the gun, fell to his knees, and began to cry. I'm not very good at this, am I? All I wanted was to buy something for my wife and son, he went on. I've lost my job. My rent is due. My car got repossessed last week. George handed the gun to the cop. Son, we all get in a bit of squeeze now and then. The road gets hard sometimes, but we make it through the best we can. He got the young man to his feet and sat him down on a chair across from the cop. Sometimes we do stupid things. George handed the young man a cup of coffee. Being stupid is one of the things that makes us human. Coming in here with a gun ain't the answer. Now sit here, get warm, and we'll sort this thing out. The young man has stopped crying. He looked over to the cop. Sorry I shot you. It just went off. I'm sorry, officer. Shut up and drink your coffee, the cop said. George could hear the sounds of sirens outside. A police car and an ambulance skidded to a halt. Two cops came through the door, guns drawn. Chuck, you okay? One of the cops asked the wounded officer. Not bad for a guy who took a bullet. How'd you find me? GPS locator in the car, best thing since sliced bread. Who did this? The other cop asked as he approached the young man. Chuck answered him. I don't know. The guy ran off into the dark, just dropped his gun and ran. George and the young man looked puzzled at each other. That guy work here? The wounded cop continued. Yep, George said. Just hired him this morning. Boy lost his job. The paramedics came in and loaded Chuck onto the stretcher. The young man leaned over the wounded cop and whispered, Why? Chuck just said, Merry Christmas, boy. And you too, George, and thanks for everything. Well, looks like you got one doozy of a break there. That ought to solve some of your problems. George went into the back room and came out with a box. He pulled out a ring box. Here you go, something for the little woman. I don't think Martha would mind. She said it would come in handy someday. The young man looked inside to see the biggest diamond ring he ever saw. I can't take this, said the young man. It means something to you. And now it means something to you too, replied George. I got my memories. That's all I need. George reached into the box again. An airplane, a car, and a truck appeared next. They were toys that the oil company had left for him to sell. Here's something for that little man of yours. The young man began to cry, and as he handed back the $150 that the old man had handed him earlier, And what are you supposed to buy Christmas dinner with? You keep that too, George says. Now get home to your family. The young man turned, his tears streaming down his face. I'll be here in the morning for work if that job offer is still good. Nope, I'm closed Christmas Day, George says. See you the day after. George turned around to find that the stranger had returned. Where'd you come from? I thought you left. I have been here. I've always been here, said the stranger. You say you don't celebrate Christmas. Why? Well, after my wife passed away, I just couldn't see what all the bother was. Putting up a tree all seemed a waste of a good pine tree. Baking cookies like I used to with Martha just wasn't the same by myself. And besides, I was getting a little chubby. The stranger put his hand on George's shoulder. But you do celebrate the holiday, George. You gave me food and drink and warmed me when I was cold and hungry. The woman with child will bear a son, and he will become a great doctor. The policeman you helped will go on to save 19 people from being killed by terrorists. The young man who tried to rob you will make you a rich man and not take any for himself. That is the spirit of the season, and you keep it as good as any man. George was taken aback by all the stranger has said. And how do you know all of this? Asked the old man. Trust me, George, I have the inside track on this sort of thing, and when your days are done, you will be with Martha again. The stranger moved toward the door. If you excuse me, George, I have to go now. I have to go home. There's a big celebration planned. George watched as the old leather jacket and the torn pants that the stranger was wearing turned into a white robe. The golden light began to fill the room. You see, George, it's my birthday. Merry Christmas. George fell to his knees and replied, Happy birthday, Lord Jesus. Merry Christmas. And on that note, it doesn't matter what you believe in. I hope you all have an incredible, lovely holiday and a safe holiday. And keep your focus on the light. And, when you've got time, start chanting, may divine enlightenment descend on everyone now. May divine enlightenment awaken within everyone now. And then just chant that over and over, and it happens. And you can tweak it. We've done that. May divine enlightenment descend on our children now. May divine enlightenment awaken within our children now. And if you really want to tweak it even more, may divine joy descend on our family now. May divine joy awaken within our family. Focus on that light. But this is Kathy Bilski, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show on UPRN Radio. And this is December 18th, 2020. I won't be around for the next 2 weeks because Christmas and New Year's ends up on Friday. So I get those nights off, kind of like a vacation. And I will be back after that. And we're going to get back into doing energy and light work. And, if you can't get enough of me, you can go to my Facebook page, Kathy Bilski, which I will be doing more energy and light work. I have to make up for it if I'm not on the radio. You can also check me on my YouTube channel, Kathy Bilski. I've got all my old shows there. Got some cool dolphin videos. My latest dolphin video is I'm introducing the dolphins to crystals. So anyway, I hope you have a very lovely, safe holiday. Do some random acts of kindness for people. And instead of, support your local small business people, the ma and pa stores, and ask people what do they want for the holiday. Just don't buy them something they don't need, and buy them something they can use. All right, so now if you need to ground, hold hematite. I know it's cold depending on where you are, but bundle up. Find a tree, put your gloves on, put your hands on a tree, send all your excess energy into a tree for about 30 seconds. Ask the tree to send you energy back and you'll ground. You can ground by eating. That's a good way. Or you can also, take a bath. That will help you ground and, help you be able to sleep. So thanks for tuning in. Again, this is Kathy Bilski, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show on UPRN Radio. And this is December 18th, 2020. Aloha, and see you next year.